Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today, we're strapping in for a look at some roads you really, really hope you never have to drive on.
That's right. We're doing a deep dive into a specific list. It was compiled back in August 2019 by 10 Most Today.
And the title, 10 Most Dangerous Roads in the World.
Catchy, huh?
Definitely gets your attention. So our mission here is basically to unpack this list, understand why these particular routes are flagged as dangerous, at least according to the source.
Right. What were their criteria?
Exactly, and pull out the details that really make you stop and think. You might expect, it's all just sheer cliffs and impossible curves.
Which there are plenty of, to be fair.
Oh, absolutely. But as this list kind of reveals, danger on the road comes in, well, surprisingly varied forms.
And it's a topic with serious global weight, unfortunately. The source itself notes that traffic accidents claim nearly 1.3 million lives yearly worldwide.
Wow, 1.3 million, that's staggering.
It really is. And it underscores initiatives like the WHO's Decade of Action for Road Safety that ran from 2011 to 2021.
So these extreme examples, while maybe rare, they kind of highlight fundamental dangers we could see anywhere, really.
Precisely. They're the extremes, but the underlying issues, they're common.
Okay, let's dive in then. Let's unpack this list, starting at number 10 and counting down.
Sounds good. Kicking us off at number 10 is Italy's Stelvio Pass.
Ah, the Italian Alps. Beautiful, right? But the source paints a pretty vivid picture here. Describes the road like a scribble of a child.
Yeah, just packed with incredibly tight hairpin bends.
So what's the specific danger the list points to?
Well, it's dark, steep mountain drops right off the edge, paired with surprisingly low concrete barriers, just not much between you and the drop.
Okay.
And the road climbs about 2 kilometers.
Steep climb too, then.
Very. And what's interesting is the source points out the danger gets amplified if drivers get distracted by the view, which, it is spectacular scenery.
Right, so the beauty is actually part of the risk.
Yeah.
Distraction plus sheer drops plus minimal barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the source highlights that as a potent mix. Okay, so from the beautiful Alps, we're shifting gears. And continents, actually. Number 9, the Karakoram Highway.
Right. This is the big one connecting Pakistan and China.
Yeah.
It peaks at the Kunjarab Pass, which is, get this, 4,693 meters high.
Whoa. Okay, that elevation alone is intense. What's the primary danger identified by the source here?
The list points specifically to the Pakistan side of the highway, notes it's unpaved.
Unpaved at that altitude.
Yeah, and highly susceptible to floods and landslides.
Landslides, always a major hazard on mountain roads. And the source mentions its history too, doesn't it? The whole Friendship Highway name.
It does. Kind of ironic, given the human cost. The source notes 82 Chinese and 810 Pakistani workers died during its construction, mostly from landslides.
That's a huge number of lives lost just building it.
It is. And despite that deadly past and, the ongoing risks, it's still a tourist draw. It passes these breathtaking gorges along the path of the old Silk Road.
So the source really captures that contrast, doesn't it? Between the historical challenge, the incredible beauty, and just the inherent danger.
It really does. And connecting that idea, extreme conditions, high elevation.
Yeah.
Our next road at number 8 is Los Caracoles Pass.
This one winds through the Andes, right, between Argentina and Chile. Sits at around, 3,176 meters?
About that, yeah. And the danger described by the source here, it focuses on the steep, dizzying curves.
Dizzying curves.
Yeah, and it's a route used frequently by articulated lorries. Those really big trucks.
The ones that bend in the middle on those curves.
Exactly. And here's a detail we've seen flagged before. The source explicitly states the road has no safety barrier.
Okay, no safety barrier again. And huge trucks on steep, dizzying curves. That kind of echoes the Stelvio Pass danger, but maybe in a different climate zone.
It does. The source also mentions tourist coaches use it when it's not snowed in.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, with flying, or the potentially unopened Trans-Andean Railway is the main alternatives.
It just highlights how essential yet, perilous this ground route must be for the region.
Precisely. Okay, now let's jump across the pond. Number 7, the Widowmaker in the UK.
Right, the Peak District in England. The source describes it as picturesque, a country road.
Yeah, but deceptively dangerous. The quote is, more dangerous than how they actually are, which is interesting phrasing.
It implies the danger isn't immediately obvious, maybe.
Exactly. That deceptive quality seems key. The list blames treacherous bends, edged really closely by old stone walls and steep embankments.
So not a sheer cliff, but still unforgiving edges.
Right, and the data backs it up. Between 2006 and 2008, 34 serious or fatal accidents.
34 on one stretch of country road.
Yeah. It led the Road Safety Foundation to name it the most dangerous UK route back in 2010.
And that nickname, Widowmaker, is chilling. The source says locals named it that.
Yeah, underscores the human cost. And it mentions many casualties involved motorcyclists, perhaps like Selvio enjoying the scenery a bit too much.
Or just the challenge of the bends. It shows danger isn't just on, epic mountain passes. It can hide on seemingly pleasant roads, too.
That's a really important point from the list, I think. Okay, moving down to number 6, we head to the coast route in Croatia.
Ah, the Adriatic coast. Beautiful. But the source puts this road in the context of Croatia having a, well, relatively high average of yearly traffic accidents overall.
Right, 11,650 according to their info, which is why it's flagged by the Association of Safe International Road Travel.
Okay, so what are the specific dangers highlighted for this coastal route?
Sharp curves clinging right to the cliff face.
Uh-oh.
Another instance of the absence of safety barriers, like we've discussed.
There it is again.
And significant problems with speeding and congestion, especially during tourist season along the Adriatic.
Right, so a combo platter.
Yeah.
Tough geography, lack of protection, and risky driver behavior or just too much traffic. Got it. Now for number 5. China's Guliang Tunnel.
Ah, this one's fascinating. Kaihang Mountains. The backstory the source presents is just incredible. It was literally hacked through the side of the mountain
Hacked. You mean like
by local villagers starting in 1972 using mostly hand tools.
by hand? Through a mountain? That's almost impossible to even picture.
I know. It took years, and as the source notes, it was a deadly construction period. Some deaths occurred.
I can only imagine.
The tunnel itself is about 1.2 kilometers long, pretty narrow, 4 meters wide by 5 meters high. And critically, some sections have an open edge.
What does open edge mean in a tunnel?
It means you're looking straight out down the rocky cliff face from inside the tunnel.
Whoa! An open edge over a cliff inside a tunnel they dug by hand? Wow. Okay, the source's nickname for it, the road that does not tolerate mistakes, seems incredibly appropriate.
Understatement, maybe.
Mhm.
Okay, moving back towards the Himalayas for number 4. India's Zojila Pass.
Right, this connects Ladakh and Kashmir. Crucial link for Ladakh, the source says, keeping them connected externally, even though it looks like just a dusty track.
Yeah, dusty roadway is how it's described. The dangers here, according to the source, well, first, it's often blocked by heavy snow in winter. Makes sense.
Standard mountain pass issue.
Right. But the primary peril highlighted is the road itself. It's a 9-kilometer stretch that zigzags up the mountain to 3,528 meters
High again.
without any barrier on its outer edge. None.
Zero barrier. As
Zero. On the other side, you've just got a compact rock face right there. The source flatly says it's definitely not for someone with vertigo or with fear of landslides.
I'd say another high elevation road, vital connection, total lack of barriers on the drop-off side. That's a really clear, recurring theme this list identifies.
Absolutely.
Now, number 3 is different. Its notoriety stems from a specific historical event, doesn't it? Iraq's Highway of Death.
Yeah, this one's unique on the list. It's Highway 80, leading from Kuwait City towards Basra in Iraq. The source recounts that event in February 1991 during the first Gulf War.
The bombing of the retreating convoy.
Exactly. The U.S. aircraft bombing of retreating Iraqi trucks and tanks. That event marked the road in history.
A truly devastating event.
Yes, the source states it destroyed something like 2,700 vehicles. Just gone.
And the human cost.
Well, that's just it. As the source highlights, the number of deaths was actually never accurately confirmed. The estimates range incredibly widely, from maybe 300 up to 10,000.
10,000. That's a huge range.
Massive uncertainty. The list notes the war ended just days after these shocking photos of the scene were televised. Now, it's really crucial here for us to state. We're reporting exactly what the source material says about this raid and this event.
Right.
We're presenting it neutrally, just as described in the list we're analyzing. We're not taking any sides or endorsing any viewpoints on the conflict itself.
Absolutely. The source presents it as a historical event that made the road infamous for this specific reason. Okay, moving on to number 2. A road that, for a while, actually held the title of the world's most dangerous. Bolivia's Road of Death.
Ah, yes, Yungas Road, the route from La Paz down to Coriaco. And yeah, the source mentions it was previously declared the world's most dangerous by the Inter-American Development Bank.
And the dangers described here sound, well, horrific.
They really are. It
Yeah.
drops steeply, very steeply over 65 kilometers. And it's heavily used by overcrowded buses and local trucks.
Overcrowded buses on that road.
Yeah. And the source gives this incredibly stark detail. Trucks sometimes just fly off the route.
Fly off.
That's the phrasing, leading to an estimated 200 to 300 deaths a year.
200 to 300 deaths annually from vehicles going off the edge. That number is just staggering.
It's horrific. Yet, remarkably, and the source points out this contrast, it's also become a playground for adventure cyclists.
Cyclists on that road voluntarily.
Seeking thrills, apparently, despite the extreme documented risk, the juxtaposition of, fatal crashes involving locals just trying to get by, and thrill-seeking tourism. It's quite striking.
It really highlights the complex, sometimes strange relationship people have with risk and with roads, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Okay, finally, number 1. Top of this 10 most today list. The traveling route from Jalalabad to Kabul, Afghanistan.
Right, a 65-kilometer highway. Now, the source does mention it snakes across Taliban territory and suggests that explains its label as most dangerous in that specific context.
Okay, that makes immediate sense given the location, but the source makes a really important clarification right after that, doesn't it?
It does, and it's crucial for understanding why it's number 1 on this list. The list explicitly states that the danger side of this road, according to their criteria for this ranking, has nothing to do with the insurgency.
Nothing to do with the conflict, so why is it number 1 then?
According to the source, it's down to 2 specific factors. First, the road itself is physically challenging. It's narrow, it's twisting, it climbs significantly, about 600 meters via the Kabul Gorge Highway.
Okay, demand and geography.
And second, and this seems crucial, the behavior of drivers. Specifically, Afghan drivers recklessly overtaking fully loaded haulage trucks.
Reckless overtaking of huge trucks on a narrow, twisting mountain gorge road.
Yeah. So, according to this source, despite its location in a conflict zone, the primary dangers they are listing for this road are purely traffic-related.
The physical nature of the route combined with extremely risky driving. That's a really specific point the source is making about why it topped their list.
Exactly. It reframes the danger, for the purpose of this list, from external conflict to internal road safety factors.
Wow. Okay, looking back at this whole journey then, through the list, it becomes really clear, doesn't it? The sources of road danger are incredibly diverse.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen danger rooted in just the physical environment, the geography, steep drops, high elevation, instability leading to landslides.
Right.
We've seen critical infrastructure failures highlighted.
Right.
Especially that repeated mention of roads with absolutely no safety barriers.
That came up again and again.
Yeah. Environmental factors too, snow, floods playing a big role on some routes. We even saw how a specific historical event, like on Highway 80, can permanently mark a road with danger in our minds.
And maybe most consistently across the list, human behavior.
Oh, definitely. Speeding, congestion, distraction. Remember the Stelvio Pass view? And that incredibly reckless overtaking mentioned for the Kabul-Jalalabad highway? It's cited as a major factor multiple times.
So it's really not just one thing, is it? It's this complex interplay of location, maybe engineering or lack thereof, history sometimes, and just how we as humans actually drive on these paths.
Well put. It's all interconnected.
Indeed. Well, this deep dive into the 10 most today list has certainly given us a look at some truly harrowing routes.
It really has.
The source concludes, maybe predictably, with a thought about the importance of staying safe, doing what we can to avoid accidents. It feels like a poignant reminder after exploring such extremes.
A necessary thought for sure.
Yeah. So here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. Based on all these diverse types of dangers this source highlighted, how does looking at these extreme examples, from treacherous mountain passes with no barriers to seemingly ordinary country roads with hidden curves, or even roads marked by both human conflict and reckless driving, how does that change the way you think about the roads you travel every day?
Does it make you more aware, maybe, of the potential for hidden dangers, even in familiar places?
Yeah, something to ponder the next time you're behind the wheel, or, like you said, even just as a passenger.
Definitely food for thought.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world's most dangerous roads, according to this one specific list.